just to remind you of the rest of the sessions for the GEF Day, we'll be having the business perspective, where we have invited a few business leaders to share their views and thoughts on the role that the business community can play in transformational change. We'll also be featuring the Great Green Wall Initiative film, and we'll have a discussion around the film. We feel that it's a good example to show transformational change on the ground, what's actually happening in the field. And then we'll be having our replication and scaling up session, where we'll hear from a number of country partners as well as one of our key agency partners, UNDP. The final session will be on sustainability. Again, we've invited a number of our partners to share their views, this being one of the key building blocks for transformation. And then we'll close with question and answer and a wrap-up session. So you'll have an opportunity to ask a number of questions. Our CEO is here. So let me give her 2 minutes to get her mic on, and then we'll invite her to the stage. Thank you for your patience.
Okay, very good afternoon to everyone and welcome to the GEF Day. I am very pleased to see that many familiar faces are here. I understand the session of this GEF Day is really devoted to transformational change, and in my view, this is really a deep dive towards the transformational change, because we actually talk a lot about the transformational change, but we really don't know exactly that and how we can catalyze the transformational change. So it's really great for us together to devote some time to figure out what does it mean by transformational change. But before we dive deep into this transformational change in practice, maybe let me share with you just a few minutes of why GEF has been emphasizing that transformational change for some time. Science is telling us or sending us a very clear message that we have really pushed the carrying capacity of the Earth system to its limit or to its breaking point. So it's really time for us human beings to change our way of living, how to live, what to eat, how to produce food, and how to move around, and how to produce and consume. So in order to catalyze that kind of big system change, it's really important for us to put the transformational change in our strategy. That's how we come up with a transformational change as a center concept of the GEF strategy. On our side, we actually reviewed our portfolio, and we have done so far maybe 4,000 projects, and as you may know, 80% of the projects are rated satisfactory and beyond. But at the same time, we all know that the reality of the world is we are really failing to stop the climate change. We are suffering or seeing the huge loss of biodiversity. Land is degraded, ocean is polluted. So despite of all our nice collection of 4,000 projects, we were not yet to arrest the global environmental degradation. That is actually that also our aspiration that do we have any better way to make much more sense out of those, the collection of our projects. That's how the GEF has come up with the idea of how can we be a part of transformation of the system change. So if you have seen that the GEF 7 strategy, we have identified a few flagship areas of the transformational change. One of the largest area is actually food and land use system and restoration area, which is actually identified as IPBES, IPCC on land as one of the most kind of powerful degrader of the global environment. Then another flagship area is sustainable cities. Why? Because we all know city is making is a major player of environmental pressure, but at the same time, they can also offer the solution to the challenge we are facing. Then that the energy transition, of course. Then maybe that we also need to challenge our current economic model of linear consumption and production, and how we can make this model to us much more circular way. So that's how the GEF 7 strategy, which currently we are in, actually that raised those several key systemic change as a centerpiece of the program. So it's kind of maybe not that difficult for you to understand why we were promoting transformational change, but the challenge we are facing is how does it really mean on the ground? How we, the small GF, can be a part of the bigger picture. So that is a real challenge. That's why this session today is so meaningful, because we are also a bit of struggling that how we can really implement this ground idea on the ground. And the team, I think, has come up with 3 important elements or challenges we are facing. Number 1 is that how we can bring people together. And we actually put a lot of emphasis on that multi-stakeholder platform. The idea is that we all come to know that just one entity cannot transform the system. So it's very important for us to create a kind of multi-stakeholder platform so that we can bring the key actors together to move towards the same direction. So the important of this multi-stakeholder dialogue is it's not just the government, it's not just the central government, it's of course involved the local government, but importantly it involves the private sector, the business, smallholders and citizens, and the role of also science is important. So it really bring the all key actors together. But this is not a dialogue for dialogue, it's a dialogue for actions. And I always found it's very difficult to go or close the last mile to move from just talking towards the meaningful action. And actually the GEF team spent enormous amount of time to figure out how to close this last mile of the journey, moving from just talking towards some meaningful actions. And that's where I found that the most of the challenge lies in. And from a business point of view, this is actually area that the play competition area, that the private sector is all competing naturally. So, but if we are able to create some kind of platform to bring them together, the play competitive level, that's going to be very, very useful for us to work with them. So how you can close that this last mile of the journey of this so-called multi-stakeholder platform. Maybe just to be clear about what do I mean by multi-stakeholder platform or the coalition, because we, the GF, have been partnering with or participating in some of those multi-stakeholder platforms. In terms of city space, we are partnering with the C40 or ICLEI or the WRI, those city-based organizations or the knowledge partners in the working for cities to really help the city leaders to move on to the action. That in terms of food and agriculture area, we are part of the Food and Land Use Coalition or Good Growth Partnership to bring everybody together to how to shift the food and land use system to a much more sustainable one. Then in case of the circular economy, I am co-chairing the platform for accelerating circular economy together with the CEO of the Philips to actually bring all the key industries together, industry and the government together. So these are just a few examples of how we want to create the multi-stakeholder platform for actions. But the important point is how we can really close the last mile to bring everybody move towards that shared goal. So that is a challenge I think that we are facing, and I'm very much interested in learning from you that how you can make it happen. The second element of this transformational change is scalability or replicability. So how we can achieve the scale without losing the quality. Here, I think that the key question I have in mind is that good enough for us to just do the same thing more and more and more? Or do we really need things differently? So this scalability and replicability are two very different things. And sometimes the scale is to go scale is failing because of several bottlenecks. It's very important for us to understand what are the bottlenecks for scalability and how we could really solve it. And the last element of this transformational change is actually the sustainability. Here, I think we have the huge challenge together among the environmental or actually development partners because RIO, I understand Gita is here. Is she still there? the RIO that dropped a big bomb in the middle of the replenishment discussion that our sustainability is only 63% or something like that. And our potential donors all kind of jump on their chairs and why that ratio is so low. But when we really compare our record with many other developing partners, actually 63% is more or less within the range. So it's not only just the GEF's challenge, it's actually the challenge or the issues are shared by development partners. So we were not proud of 63%. We have to be concerned about it. But it's not just the GEF. It's actually the all development partners should equally be concerned and work together to how we can actually increase that number. And it's actually technically also very, very difficult to even identify where we lost the sustainability. And here I am deeply, deeply interested in that you are giving us some kind of example or the theory or practice from the ground or based on your experience that where you think that we are failing this sustainability and what are the key to bring those sustainability up to the much more sustainable level. Let me just check what else I want to say. So just in closing, I think that the good news is that more and more I have been hearing the need for the transformational change or the need for the system-based approach, because many of us engaged in this development community or nature community come to know that we cannot just continue the business as usual. It's really good time for us to aim higher. And we all come to know that some kind of system-based thinking is absolutely needed, because what the Earth is telling us that we can't just go on, that it's our time, it's time for us to change, so that there is a kind of growing understanding of the needs of transformational change. And as a business partner, which have been kind of experience or trying this system change for the last few years, I think we are in a very good position to work with you together to actually to learn more about how we can really do it on the ground, and also to collect good lessons and bring it to the global community. And I think that that's something we could do together. And I believe this is a very good contribution to the global community, which are really serious about the future of the Earth and our people. So thank you so much, and really looking forward to the outcome of this entire afternoon session, because it clearly hopes that GF going forward and doing a much better job together with you. Thank you so much. Well, I am supposed to leave now for the ministerial roundtable, but just in case, I assume they are not starting on time. Are there any questions or burning questions or comments? I think I want to engage a little bit if there are anything. And then, yes.
Hello. I am Professor K.S. Reddy from India. I am a soil scientist basically. The transformational changes across is possible with special reference to land degradation, land droughts, and land desertification. The key factor here is land restoration, right? Land can be restored across the world, land space, provided a minimum of 2 feet depth of this land in vertical direction, the soil depth. 2 feet is ensured, the minimum of 2 feet is ensured. Then the drought, desertification, degradation will vanish from the world once for all, because the 2 feet depth of land, vertical direction, it will be able to retain water, rainwater, and then support plant life and in turn the animal life. So that will set in what is called as a chain reaction for development. The quality of life will be enhanced automatically. Unfortunately, across the world, this point is neglected, not ensured. The minimum, we're not asking much, 2 feet depth. That is what is called the meaning of land restoration. That will also increase the salability of all that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any brief comment or?
Questions?
Questions? Yeah, I think I can take one more. But,
Introduce yourself.
Thank you. My name is Godrich Mpanwa from Zimbabwe. I just want to make a comment on your third challenge of sustainability of programs. My view, maybe it's open for everyone, is everything starts from the beginning. How effective is our needs identification? How deep do we go in terms of understanding the real problems? Is it a top-down or a bottom-up? If we go deep in actually identifying the problem and understanding it before we come up with the programs of implementation, I believe we can be able to achieve sustainability of the project that is after. The second one is post-project. Most of the projects, in my opinion, seem to be too short, such that by the time the project comes to the end, people will not have realized the real benefit of that project. Therefore, it will not be able to continue afterwards. Thank you.
thank you so much, and really appreciate the comments on the need of a much deeper and going to the importance of land restoration. And also thank you so much for your insight where we could strengthen our sustainability, much deeper understanding of the beginning at the root cause of the problem, and also that how we can create the sustainability along the period, and so that at the end of the project we should not just disappear, that we have to think about how to also build that kind of capacity that on the ground. So thank you so much for actually engaging with us, and I'm going for another round table discussion. But again, that the GEF Secretariat really deeply appreciate our partnership so that we can do more together. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you very much, Naoko. We heard some very key points in our keynote speech. 3 key themes: dialogue, scale, and sustainability, as well as the importance of partnerships and collaborating with key actors. So this takes us perfectly into the next session. One of the key actors and partners that we think are important for transformational change is the business community. And we have Matthew Reddy, our private sector specialist at the GEF, who will facilitate this session. We will have a few business leaders discussing with us on the role of the business community in transformational change. Do they think we're on the right track? What do they think they can contribute to the process? So I'd like to invite our speakers to the podium. Yes, thank you.